Here's something they don't want you to know that you need to know. How to get a good credit score. The highest credit score you can get is an 850. The average score in America is 698. Before we get started, this is me, 822, 825. I'm a 36-year-old college dropout with nothing more than a high school education, no wife, no kids. I've been self-employed for 14 years, and I own a home. A high credit score is one of the most crucial components of financial freedom that most people don't understand anything about. A credit score establishes your financial trustworthiness, but also comes into play when giving you rates for things like a mortgage, a car payment, or even renting an apartment. This score is determined by 3 independent financial agencies and follows a very specific set of rules and guidelines that are clearly laid out. Because of its lack of appearance in the public school system and even in just everyday life, it is not only not understood, but very few people actually pay attention to it until it's too late. Here's how any person of any age can establish a good credit score in a couple of years. First of all, open a free account at creditkarma.com or a comparable agency. It costs absolutely no money, and know what your score is. There's a clear report that details why your score is that way and the weighting factors that determine why it's there. The first and simplest thing that you can do is pay down all your debts and make sure that you have no derogatory marks. Never make a late payment, never miss a payment, don't miss a medical payment. Make sure that there are absolutely no marks on your credit score, negative remarks, derogatory marks, or late payments, and pay all of your bills on time. If you see a mark, investigate it, get it paid, and get it removed. This is a lengthy and complicated topic, but I'm going to try to stick to the core components. If you want to see me do more on this or do a longer form version of this, please let me know in the comments. Step 1, never pay for anything in cash or a debit card. Always use a credit card, or at the very least, a card that has a Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover logo on it. A credit card not only acts as a 30-day free loan, but it also is a free digital ledger, allowing you to track your expenses as you go throughout the month and see where you really spend your money. If you don't have a credit card already, go to Macy's, Target, Sephora, or a store that you shop at frequently and get a store credit card. That credit card is a credit account with that large company. It's not actually a credit card like a Visa or a MasterCard. But by establishing store credit at an actual retail store, your credit will be affected, but you can't use that card anywhere other than that store. This is how anybody of any age can start building credit. Buy a pair of socks if it's at Macy's and pay the bill at the end of the month. Always set your credit card bills to auto pay in full from your checking account. If you are worried about an overdraft fee, attach your checking account to a savings account that will draft from your savings in the event that your checking account gets overdrawn. Log into your credit card accounts all the time and stay on point with how much you owe at any given time. Check it at least once a week. Once you have a store credit card, never close it, ever, for the rest of your life. And while we're on the subject, you should probably never close any credit account ever. Because your credit score is primarily determined by 3 major factors, which is the amount of accounts you have open, the time that those accounts have been open, and your credit utilization. The amount of credit accounts that you have open would be, let's say you have a Macy's card, you have a credit card at your bank, let's say you have an Amazon card or an Exxon Mobil card, then you might have a mortgage and an auto payment and maybe a student loan. All of those accounts total up maybe 4 or 5. You really want to have at least 6. The length that those accounts have been opened are determined by the average of all of the accounts' duration that they've been opened. So if you open an account right now, 1 year from now, your average account time is a year. If you open another one 1 year from now, it drops your average time open to a half a year. You have one that's a year, one that's 0. It'll split it. So if you have 6 accounts that have been open for a long time and you never close them, your average age of account will grow larger and it will affect your credit score positively over time. So never close an account unless you absolutely have to. The next is credit card utilization. So how much of the amount of credit that you're being extended by these financial agencies are you using? So for example, let's say that they give you $10,000 worth of credit and you put $1,000, you spend $1,000 on that card. Your credit card utilization is now 10%. You want to try to keep it between 3 and 7% at all times. If you go over that number, try to pay it down maybe even before the end of the month to keep your utilization rate below 7 to 3%. If you don't have any credit account or you already got your Macy's or Target or Sephora card, the simplest way to establish credit is to open what's called a secured credit card. Go to a large national bank like a Chase or a Wells Fargo or a Bank of America. Try to use a bank that you already have a relationship with. At that bank, open what's called a secured credit card, which essentially means that the bank will tie up a certain amount of your money and then extend you that amount in credit. And then in the event that you don't pay that bill at the end of the month, they will take it from the amount that they hold from you in cash. So in very simple terms, if a credit card gives you, let's say, $1,000 worth of credit, they hand you the card, you can now spend up to $1,000. In the case of a secured credit card, what they would be doing is taking your $1,000 in cash, locking it up somewhere in the bank, putting it in an account that you can't access, and then extending you that $1,000 of credit so that you could go spend it. If at the end of the month or end of several months you just never responded to them again, they would take the $1,000 that they held from you. But if you pay your bills on time and establish your trustworthiness over time, usually in about a year to a year and a half, they will give you that $1,000 or whatever you put in a secured account back, and they will transfer your card to an unsecured card. For your next account, open an account that will give you cash back or credits or points to your favorite business. In my case, I have a Southwest Airlines credit card. All my cards are with Southwest, and I fly pretty much for free domestically almost 20 times a year. If you have multiple credit accounts open, make sure that you use each one fairly regularly. You may put a tank of gas on one, or a pair of socks on one, or a meal or a lunch. Just make sure that you utilize those credit cards. Try to every month and just pay them down in full every month. If you have 4 to 6 credit accounts open at any given time, the average length of time that those accounts have been open is over 5 years. Your credit utilization is under 10%, and you never made a late payment, and you have no derogatory marks, you will have a great credit score. Like all things, it just takes time. So open as many accounts as you can, utilize them at a very low amount, keep your utilization low, establish credit by using a secured card or a Macy's card, and never close any accounts. Never use cash, always use the credit card, take the free ledger, understand what you're spending your money on, regularly check in on your score at Credit Karma, and make sure that you read the reports that detail why your score is what it is and the ways that they give you for free on how to improve it. By following these very simple steps and watching YouTube videos to give you more understanding of how credit works, you can be financially free for the rest of your life. A high credit score will establish your trustworthiness when you want to perhaps get a loan for a business, a construction loan, rent an apartment, or get a more favorable rate when you get a mortgage or perhaps a car payment. It will follow you for the remainder of your life and is a crucial component of being financially free. Credit is not bad. Credit accounts are not bad. Simply play the game and use them to your advantage. And by a certain point in the very near future, the banks will be dying to give you more money for less. Because remember, a credit card is a free short-term temporary loan and a free digital ledger. If you spend $1,000 on the first of the month, the end of that credit card cycle would be the first of the following month. So you spend the $1,000 on the first of the following month, the credit card statement closes and says you owe $1,000. If you don't pay that $1,000 by the 15th, let's say, it starts to accumulate interest. So if you pay the $1,000 in full, you could have sometimes up to 45 days before you pay that amount back, and you will pay no interest on it. You only pay interest on an account, on a balance that you carry over an additional month. So if you use the credit card to only spend money that you already have, it's a free short-term loan. And then you get to share in the benefits of, let's say, cash back or free Southwest Airline points or credits towards your favorite makeup or whatever. Play the game, learn the system, be financially free. It's as simple as that.